He ran to the princess's room and accused the prince of being an evil wizard because the prince had managed to get past him and into the princess's room. "How dare you call me an evil wizard?" the prince shouted at the slave. "I am a royal prince. Your king married me to your princess and commanded me to come to my wife's room tonight." But the slave didn't believe this and ran to tell the king about the prince. The king wanted to kill the stupid slave for letting this happen. But he was also afraid for his daughter, so he rushed to her room. He met the slave girls at the door. They weren't sure if the prince was a man or an evil wizard either, but told the king that the young man had treated his daughter with respect. When the king heard this, he relaxed a bit, looked into the room, and saw his daughter talking calmly to the prince. However, he still felt he had to protect his daughter's honor, so he ran into the room with his sword raised high. "Young man," he shouted, "you've damaged my daughter's honor by entering her room without permission from her king." "But, my lord," answered the prince, "it was an accident. I was wandering through your wonderful palace when I saw her great beauty. I'm afraid I couldn't control myself." "Never mind that. I should have my slaves kill you right now," the king shouted angrily. "You've damaged my honor as well as my daughter's. But instead of killing you now, we'll see how brave you really are. You say you're a royal prince. All right. You can keep your life until tomorrow. Then you must fight my army of 80,000 soldiers. If you fight my soldiers and win, you won't lose your life. And there's one more thing. I won't tell my army that you came into my daughter's room tonight. I'll tell them that you wish to marry my daughter, and that I have commanded you to fight my army first. In this way, our honor will be saved." "I accept your offer," the prince said proudly, "and I'll win, because my love for your daughter is true." The prince was then taken to the king's room to sleep that night, so that the princess would be safe. The king and the prince sat for hours and talked about many things. The king began to like the prince. He thought he said very wise and intelligent things. He was also very brave. However, the king was certain that the prince would be killed in the next morning's battle. He was sad about this, but he knew that it was necessary in order to save his daughter's honor. When morning came, the king's army gathered outside, and the king spoke to his soldiers. "Listen carefully. This young man has come to ask for permission to marry my daughter. I've never met a better young man, with a warmer heart or stronger spirit. He's told me that he can fight you and win. When the battle begins, you must attack him with all your strength." Then he turned to the prince and told him to choose a horse and prepare for battle. "I'm afraid, my lord, that none of your horses pleases me," replied the prince. "What? These are the best horses in the country," the king replied. He was a little annoyed and felt that the prince was trying to make a fool of him again. "My lord, I would prefer to ride my own horse, the horse I came on." "And where is your horse?" "On top of the palace." "Where?" "On the roof." "What? Now you're being silly," said the king. "People will think you're crazy." "Maybe you are crazy." The king commanded his guards to go to the roof and bring down the prince's horse. When the soldiers got to the roof, they were surprised to see a beautiful black, shining horse standing there. But as they came closer, they realized that it was a horse made of wood. They started laughing and agreed that the prince must be crazy. They lifted the horse and carried it down to the king. After the shock of discovering that this was a wooden horse, the king admired its great beauty and asked the princess.